Welcome everyone to Mild Fuzz News. I am Peter, that is Tara, and this is your Thursday edition. And unlike last time, in which like 4 days of news built up to a epic 90-minute episode with myself and Connor, this should hopefully be more of a normal length. Or at least...
Stupid Resident Evil getting in the way of news.
At least that's what I promised Tara anyway. I mean, whether or not that's true or not, we'll find out. But we'll start off with movie news. Today we have this is becoming a bit of a trend. We had 2 casting bits of news last time for Knives Out 2, and we have another one today. Janelle Monáe has been added to the cast of Knives Out 2.
I like her.
She joins Batista and Edward Norton, who've already been cast. So again, all-star cast. We seem to be doing that again. It's going to be Daniel Craig, maybe with returning sidekick of Ana de Armas, and then a whole host of a new group, wherever the location may be, wherever the crime has been committed.
I guess, I mean, the end of the first film, she's kind of set. She doesn't really need to. Unless she's bored, I suppose.
She doesn't need to. I think me and Cara were talking about hoping that she would come back, because she was, like, the movie was so much about her.
Yeah, that she was the heart.
Yeah, so I was kind of hoping
Plus
she became...
everybody else was awful. It was so awful.
Awful people. Yeah.
Awful people. Yeah.
Not awful acting, because they were fun.
Oh no, they're all stars. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Not a bit of casting for Knives Out 2. Not much to add. I'm sure these are going to keep. Given how big the cast of the first one was, I suspect we're going to have these for about 2 weeks of every single news episode. Oh, someone else has been added to Knives Out 2. Today it's Garrett Graham or something.
Oh. I mean, obviously, I know why you said that. His picture's back there, but like, we can only hope.
All right. Well,
come out of retirement.
Next up, Regina King is closed a deal with Legendary to direct and produce an adaptation of a Dark Horse comic. Oh, sorry, an Image comic book, not a Dark Horse comic book. It's called Bitter Root. It was created by David F. Walker and Sanford Green, along with Chuck Brown. So this is the Image comic. Image do a lot of the indie stuff. They do a lot of the sort of the more upper high cred indie stuff. Not that they're the only ones who do, but they made a name for themselves over the last like decade or so, doing things like Saga and Walking Dead's Image, for example, which obviously is like one of the hottest things on the planet. Well, at least it was for a while.
That.
Yeah. I've heard of that. So Regina King's going to direct this. The story is set during the vibrant Harlem Renaissance of 1924, when a fractured family of once great monster hunters faces an unimaginable evil that descends upon New York City. For generations, the Sangres, I think I pronounced that, have hunted and cured those infected by a supernatural force that feeds off the prejudice of the era, transforming human beings into hideous monsters. With most of the family dead and the surviving Sangres at odds between saving or killing the creatures, they must overcome the wounds of the past in the hopes of thwarting an invasion. It's hard not to read this, especially how it's tying in with the prejudice stuff, and not think of Lovecraft Country a little bit, given the core premise. I'm sure it's going to feel very different time period for a start, but it's hard not to think about that a little bit when I read that. But it doesn't sound bad by any means.
No, and with someone like Regina King, who I think was nominated for an Oscar for directing.
I've not seen her directorial work yet, but yeah, it did get some cred.
Well, at least her movie was. If she wasn't, I can't quite remember. But the One Night in Miami, I haven't seen it yet either, but I do love her, so I'm rooting for her. Yeah,
I mean, even if she herself wasn't directed, like, I mean, it's always silly when the awards like give best director to one who is not associated with the best movie, because the best movie kind of comes largely because the director was able to pull it all together. So it's kind of a weird
it happens
distinction
sometimes, but it does feel odd. Like the director is usually a giveaway for whatever will win best picture.
So the point I'm making is that even if she wasn't herself nominated, the fact that her film maybe is just a sign that she did do a good job, even if she wasn't being recognized individually for it.
Right.
So
and I'm rewatching Watchmen, and I love it.
Yeah, she is good in that, as an actor, obviously. So, but But yeah, okay, there you go.
I mean, it sounds very intriguing. Honestly,
Uh-huh.
the premise sounds really good. And in the hands of a Black woman director, I think, obviously there's going to be, there's already social commentary in the description, but now there's, the right director is doing it.
Yeah. No, it does sound like there's going to be a very heavy social commentary as well, I think, because it's actually using the prejudice as kind of a plot device as well, on top of it's on top of just being an analogy, which obviously you'd expect to be there anyway. But no, interesting stuff. So
that's exciting.
And it is a movie as well, to keep in mind. So this will be like maybe it'll be open for sequels, but it will be a story that'll have an ending in the sense. So that's cool. Next up, everything I say to you here is probably going to make you less and less interested as I go, but to try and fade interest, Vertical Entertainment have secured the US distribution rights to a film called A Day to Die, an action thriller starring Frank Grillo, Bruce Willis, Leon, and Kevin Dillon.
Kevin Dillon from the Blob? It's gotta be a different one, huh?
He's definitely related to him, if not, because he's got the same look, right? You got me questioning myself now.
From the 1988 Blob movie?
Kevin Dillon. If that is who I think it is, I think it's that guy. Like, why wouldn't it be? Kevin Dillon.
I just wasn't sure if he was still acting.
IMDb. Yeah, that's him. You've seen him in things with his modern look, I'm sure.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, he's done some TV shows and stuff recently. But yeah, it's the same Kevin Dillon. He's been on some CBS shows in the last couple of years.
Well, I don't watch a lot of those, with the exception of Star Trek. That comes to CBS All Access.
No, it had no appeal to me, but he was a main character on Entourage.
I haven't watched a frame of Entourage.
I know, but you were shocked that he's still acting as if
that's true. I mean, the stuff he's in, I'm just not familiar with, I guess.
Yeah, even when we watched The Blob, I recognised him, having seen him around as an older actor.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
I just figured, he's Matt Dillon's brother who never really made it.
No, I mean it's not like he's in a lot of gold necessarily.
Well, he was in The Blob. Yeah,
but yeah,
which is a gold film.
But he's in the 2006 version of Poseidon, the Poseidon Adventure remake. So
I didn't even bother. There's no Roddy McDowell. I'm not going to go see that.
So yeah, it's just it's not exactly a gold career, but he's a constantly working actor.
Okay, sorry, Kevin Dillon. Still a fan.
I was surprised that's what you fixated on. This was Kevin Dillon's name.
I was just surprised to hear his name, that's all.
So Wes Miller directed this. It's an indie from a script he co-wrote with Scott Malice and Rab Berry. So in the film, a disgraced parole officer, played by Dillon, is indebted to a local gang leader and forced to pull off a series of dangerous drug heists within 12 hours in order to pay the $2 million he owes, rescue his kidnapped pregnant wife, and settle the score with the city's corrupt police chief, played by Bruce Willis, who is working with the gang leader and double-crossed him years ago.
Well, I hope everybody's dads are happy about this news.
It sounds very generic, it has to be said. So, and I don't know if, because Kevin Dillon works in the Blob remake because it's kind of, almost supposed to be too cheesy, and he sort of, comes off as that bad boy in a really cheesy way. I don't know if taking him seriously in an action thriller is something I buy. And I realize
he's the lead in it.
He's the lead, and I realize as I say that it's been 31 years. Wait, no, 33 years. I did some math there. That was awkward. 33 years. What are you smirking at?
Nothing. Good job figuring out the math.
Is it because it's my birthday and it's really close to my age, and you're smirking at me?
You are projecting so hard right now.
I am not projecting. There was a look in your face. I saw that look. Okay? I saw that look.
No, I was just like, oh yeah, you got the math wrong. I didn't even second guess it. That's all.
Yeah, all right.
Jesus.
All right. we'll be. Not that I even really care. You're the one who gets.
Are you feeling bad about your age tonight?
I am not, but it was just the look. It was like you expected me to, though.
Not at all. Not at all. It's cool. Happy birthday.
That's what upsets me. It's the expectation.
All right, let's keep going. I'm not going to watch this movie. It sounds awful.
All right, we can move on. Amazon Studios have picked up an original action-adventure spec script called Valor. Don't love the title, I'll say that right now. From writers Jeff Chan and Andrew Reimer. Kelly McCormick and David Leitch of 87 North are on board to produce the film. In Valor, a marauding warrior from a popular video game dies in a freak accident. He is reincarnated into our world and... Wait, hold on.
I can't keep up with that. What?
I'm already confused. Hold on. A marauding warrior from a popular video game dies in a freak... How's that a freak accident? If he's in the video game, surely he dies all the time. It's a video game. Characters die in video games. Anyway.
Well, keep going. Maybe it explains itself.
So, a marauder from a popular video game dies in a freak accident. He is reincarnated in our world and discovers the god he's always worshipped turns out to be a 13-year-old Asian kid from New Jersey, adjusting to life with a single parent. The project is billed as a 4-quadrant family movie. I hate that phrase. A 4-quadrant family movie.
Hitting all the buzzwords for the for the investors. Huh?
Yeah, repping 87 North's first foray in that space. Obviously, that's a bit of Deadline's wording there. Okay, do you know what? If you're going to sell me this, sell me video game character ends up in the real world and has to interact with the 13-year-old kid who he worshipped as a god because he was the one playing the game. That's as an action comedy, that sounds like it has potential. I think this description is not that great, but I do think that the premise could either be terrible or actually kind of amazing in the right hands. It's hard to tell because I don't know these writers well enough to have any expectation. So, but if you give this to, I don't know, who's a director that would work for this?
Chris Columbus.
No. Too kiddie. You got too far in that direction.
Peter Jackson.
I mean, maybe I don't love it, but maybe that's better. I don't know. Why am I throwing this to you? You give me nothing but terrible ideas.
Ryan Coogler.
It's a very hard-hitting version of this script, but okay. I wasn't expecting as much social commentary as you just implied with that name being thrown there.
He's a great director.
He's a great director. I mean, if we're just throwing out the great director, why not David Lynch? Let's have David Lynch direct the movie about the video game character.
I might see that.
You could put any pitch with David Lynch's name and it all of a sudden becomes 10 times more interesting because it's David Lynch.
All right. Yeah. Okay. It's interesting. It's kind of Last Action Hero. Maybe Enchanted, that kind of thing.
To the point where if you wanted to call this Last Action Hero 2 and the twist was that now it's a video game, it wouldn't be it wouldn't feel like a cheat to use that name if they had the rights to it.
It'd be like the Jumanji sequel.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah. So there you go. That's Valor. I think it's a good title. I feel like the title should be a bit more.
The title makes me think of like some Medal of Honor recipient story. People crying.
It makes me think of a really boring war drama.
Yeah,
that's what it makes me think of. It makes me think of like that trash movie American Sniper. That's what I'm thinking when I hear Valor.
Yeah, that movie is some. Remember when Clint Eastwood was someone you liked?
Yeah, he's become a really old curmudgeon-y dude. Somewhere along the lines, but hey, whatever. Anyway, so next up, Apple original films. That's right, Apple don't just make TV shows now; they make movies too. But they have made a deal with A24 to distribute Joel Coen directed The Tragedy of Macbeth. It is a film that stars Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand. I mean, it's hard not to deny those names involved.
Even Joel Cohen.
Yeah.
No, Ethan though.
Yeah, just the one Cohen on this one.
Did he write it though? Because sometimes the duo will write.
This is his first solo directing outing without brother Ethan. It doesn't mention who did the script, but it's based on Macbeth. Basically, it's just based on Macbeth.
You should know about that.
Joe, it's funny, we never did, because obviously there was multiple English classes at the same time in my year, and there was only so many copies of Macbeth to go around. So because 2 other classes were doing Macbeth, we did Hamlet instead. So I never actually experienced Macbeth.
Well, I guess the story of Hamlet gets duplicated more than Macbeth does in the movies, but that's the Scottish one.
It's the Scottish one, yeah.
That you didn't have to read it.
Yeah, but I hated Shakespeare, because we did like 4 Shakespeare plays over the course of like
Macbeth
3
is
years.
a pretty good one.
I hated every time we did it. It was like, how much other goddamn literature, or even the other playwrights, are we ignoring by just coming back to this overrated trash? All right, I'm just going to say it, overrated trash. Like, I'm not denying it's got a place.
You are alone on your island, sir.
I'm not going to deny it's got a place in history, and that it inspired a lot of the art form that we wouldn't be where today without Shakespeare. That does not mean that I have to enjoy Shakespeare from centuries ago. Okay.
It just means that you don't understand it.
I admit, I don't understand a word of it. It's like gibberish. It's straight up gibberish.
Yeah. But when it's like read and analyzed in a class setting with somebody who's able to translate things for you, like, it's brilliant.
That was translated. Also, making the kids all take parts and read it out when they don't understand what they're saying is the worst possible way to hear anything. Like,
that's probably true.
Like,
but they got to make sure that you know how to read. It's like part of the curriculum or whatever.
That was high school. We could already read. Reading was already covered.
All right, move on.
All right. So Washington is going to play the title character. McDormand's going to play Lady Macbeth. Surrounding them is Bertie Carville, Alex Hassel, Corey Hawkins. Corey Hawkins? That's not... Maybe it's just a similar name, but that's not the singer who did I Am the One and Only. No, that's Chutney Hawkins. That's Chutney Hawkins. Or Chetney Hawkins. There you go. Catherine Hunter, Harry Melling, and Brendan Gleeson. That was a name I actually recognise at the end. That's nice.
Hey.
There's no actual specific like premise of this version. It just says it's based on Macbeth. So, I don't know if they're doing like modern like language version of it, or if they're doing a present day version, or if they're setting it in, I don't know. Is it just a completely faithful adaptation where they're just all going to be in costumes and doing Macbeth? I have no idea, but
I don't know. They probably have some vision.
That's it.
I mean, because Shakespeare doesn't really draw people in unless you're like a super fan, an English teacher.
And I'm also going to go out on a limb here that, judging by the casting, that they're not going to be Scottish in this version. Just a wild guess. As I said, if Denzel Washington can do a Scottish accent, I would love to hear it.
Yeah, totally.
I would love to hear it, but
I don't know if he does many accents. I can't think of any. He usually just plays Denzel.
Yeah, he's got a distinct voice that I can't imagine him doing anything else. That said, if I ever meet him, based on this movie, I'm going to ask him to try a Scottish accent just to see how he pulls it off.
I'll just thank him for Crimson Tide, one of the greatest movies of all time.
It's not his best movie, but I mean, it's good. It's good.
All right, let's move on.
Oh, I've upset Tara now. Okay, next up is The Last Will and Testament of Charles Abernathy, which is a Netflix horror movie. It's added a bunch of cast to its ranks. Rachel Nichols from G.I. Joe Rise of the Cobra and The Man in the High Castle, who I actually vaguely recognise from Man in the High Castle. Now I'm looking at the photo again. Bob Gunton, most people will know as the Warden from Shawshank Redemption. Austin Stowell from Catch-22 and Bridge of Spies. Brianna Middleton from The Tender Bar. David Walton from New Girl and Bad Moms. Reese Alexander from The Interview and Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and Peyton List from Bunked and Hubie Halloween. Hubie Halloween, what a credit to whip out there to show who someone is. I have no idea
what that is. Sounds adorable.
You don't know what it is? Oh, he disappeared.
Why did it disappear?
Because I hovered over the taskbar, and Windows does this thing where it makes everything fade away for a second. If you
okay,
it's fine. We're good. Hubie Halloween is the Adam Sandler Halloween comedy from like last year or 2 years ago now.
I'm not gonna watch that.
It looked atrocious. He does like the little Nicky voice. Where he puts on the voice. He has like a voice like that. Yeah. That's the kind of Adam Sandler movie we're talking about here. So this is the last will and testament of Charles Abernathy, which has no involvement of Adam Sandler. So that's a point in its favor right from the get-go. Based on a screenplay by Chris Lamont and Joe Russo. As in, is that one of the Russos? Is that?
I think so.
Because it's Anthony and Joe Russo, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, okay. The film follows billionaire Charles Abernathy, played by Gunn, who on the eve of his 75th birthday invites his 4 estranged children back home out of the fear that tonight someone or something is coming to kill him. To ensure his family will help protect him from whatever's coming, Abernathy puts each of their inheritances on the line. They'll get nothing if he's found dead by dawn. That sounds like a light-hearted, fun, potential horror movie, not like a serious, we're going to try and scare you horror movie to me, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit like a classic Twilight Zone episode, actually.
Does a little bit, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. I actually kind of like the premise, and I think it could make for a fun, not schlocky, but it feels like one where all the characters, like I imagine all the kids, all the adult kids are going to be all a bunch of like, they're all going to whine, they're all going to be awful people who hate that they have to fight for the inheritance. And the idea that this is the only way they'll even try and protect their father is that their money's on the line is, so I guess I'm expecting like a horror movie like Knives Out meets, I don't know, either
maybe the what's the home invasion one? You're Next, yeah, where they've already planned something but they have to like stop it.
It depends if it's like people or if it's supernatural. If it's supernatural, it could be more like Knives Out meets Evil Dead. It could be that kind of vibe. I don't know.
That could be fun.
It's not a bad idea. Next up, speaking of horror, Shudder has picked up the distribution and sales rights for Dasha Dasha Nekrasova her horror debut. Thank you. I keep you here for emotional support, because Connor just puts me down every time I get anything wrong. So you're here to prop me back up.
Well, it's your birthday.
Thank you. It's called the Scary of 61st, which is a unique title. I think that's got a bit of intrigue to it. You can go the Scary of 61st. That's so it's just weird enough, and it's phrasing that you go, oh, what does that mean? The film premiered at the Berlin International Film Festival. It's about 2 roommates' lives upending after they find out that their new Manhattan apartment harbors a dark secret. It takes a sinister turn after they discover it was once owned by Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh my god.
That took a turn. Now, I honestly think that there'd been a turn in the story where the place where 2 characters live turns out to be like someone, infamously horrible, but I wonder if we were maybe a bit too close to this one for this to not be a bit exploitive.
Yeah.
Because no,
definitely not the name I was expecting.
Because if you did a film about like Manson,
Dahmer.
right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Dahmer. Well, like if there's a film where it's okay, the twist halfway through is that this place used to belong to Manson, right? Charles Manson. Mm-hmm. I'd be like, okay, that's a cool idea, and we're far enough removed from the events that it's it's just kind of cool using a grisly real thing from a long time ago, but this is not that long ago.
No.
This was a few years ago that this kind of came
Not
to an
even.
end.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right.
It's been like a year and a half since he killed himself.
Yeah, air quotes. He killed himself.
Yeah.
he. I mean, obviously, I know it was in a jail cell and it was, whatever. But whenever someone says that, I'm always reminded of from all things, the line from Mystery Men where the bowler talks about her father and says he fell down an elevator shaft onto some bullets. Like that's the line she has. She's talking about her father's, suicide,
Right.
or accident or whatever it was. Yeah, maybe a bit too soon, but I can't deny that the balls of doing it makes me go, oh, I'm kind of interested just to see what they've done with it, even if it's really like.
Did you say it's getting some praise at festivals?
It premiered at a festival. That doesn't necessarily mean that it got praise.
We shall see.
So Shudder's going to release it in North America, UK, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, which they tend to do. Whenever Shudder gets the rights to something, it tends to be those locations because that's where their service exists, I guess. So
Yeah, okay.
most of the primary English-speaking parts of the world.
Do you have to pay to distribute a movie in different parts of the world?
Well, yeah, they typically sell rights via region. So obviously sometimes they'll sell something for worldwide rights and that'll just, have extra costs attached to it. But sometimes they'll sell the rights to North America to one place and then they'll sell the rights to Europe to another place and then they'll sell the rights to... So in this case, they've specifically got North America, UK, Australia, New Zealand. So they've... And, Ireland kind of goes with UK. I mean, it is separate technically, but just for the sake of this, in New Zealand, we tend to think of going along with Australia because it's right next to each other. So it's basically North America, UK, Australia, and co. So, and I, if you're from New Zealand, I don't mean to belittle your existence. You seem very nice. I actually think New Zealand's quite a nice place. And hell, if nothing else, what your standout performance during the pandemic versus the rest of the shithole that is the planet Earth is to be admired. And I don't mean to put you down. I'm just sort of dripping in the same way that I'm not
and you
putting...
have delightful accents, and I love kiwi fruit.
Sure.
Genuinely.
So yeah, whereas Australia seems to be full of things that want to kill me, New Zealand seems like a really friendly place where I mean, I don't even like Lord of the Rings, but I can't deny that, the Shire looks friendly enough. So
I would love to see New Zealand one day.
I'd feel like I'd be greeted with fairly open arms, but anyway, what was the point? I was just explaining rights. So yeah, so Shudder, because they have the service in those locations, they tend to buy the rights for those.
Can I say something about Australia? I love Australia. I went there once, but like the video packet that I had to go through before I was allowed to like step onto the country, of going through the slideshow of all the things that could kill you while you're there was the longest I've ever had to sit through. And the funniest is like the most dangerous thing on the planet is like the size of your fingertip and it lives in the water. It's some octopus that if it gets you, it's like instant torturous death.
What that tells me is to only go swimming in a swimming pool in Australia, never to go in actual...
Yeah, but they got the Great Barrier Reef. Like, you gotta go.
It's deadly. They're going to kill me. I'm not doing it.
They're like invisible.
You're not convincing me otherwise with that.
Oh boy, I think it's a jellyfish or like an octopus or something.
Jesus.
Can't remember. But yeah, super deadly.
Yes. Well, I've got a vendetta against Australia specifically because when me and Carl were reviewing The Leftovers, he randomly guessed early season 2 that season 3 would mostly take place in Australia, and I thought that guess was absurd at the time, but then it turned out to be right, so I am holding it against the country of Australia till the end of time. That is the end of my statement. Thank you. So moving on.
Did he have some insider knowledge?
No, because one character had visited Australia, and based on him coming back from Australia, he said, oh, maybe the third season will all be set in Australia based on this one. And I thought, well, it was possible, just assuming that the entire third season would move location to Australia away from, the US was just absurd. And then it came true, and now I hate Australia because he was right. So,
well, was it anything to do with the fact that they started filming before anyone else?
No, The Leftovers wrapped up like years ago.
Before Leftovers. Yeah. I forgot what show you're talking about. Hey, maybe everyone just wanted a vacation.
Anyway, moving on to the TV section now. We got a few TV stories, not that many though. We're almost done. And as the comments pointed out last time, sometimes it looks like Tara's been held here captive against her will. So, Tara, your time is almost done. So, freedom is on the horizon. Stop blinking like you're blinking in Morse code. This is not a Tom Cruise.
Save me.
This is not a Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes situation where she's writing help in the soup. Like she's got her soup with the letter the alphabet letters in it, and she's like writing "save me" or "help me" in the in the bowl when guests are over for dinner.
No, it's just we already record late, and the news is always the last thing we do. So I gotta work in the morning, man. I'm tired.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if my camera is like too set to too much color or yours is set to too little, but I look very red compared to you right now, and I don't know if that's.
I live in California. I have a golden glow always.
Okay, shouldn't that mean you're more colorful though?
Well, it means I have a healthy glow. I don't get sunburned.
Fine, you're glowing. You're a glowing specimen. All right, let's talk about Lisey's story. The Apple TV Plus trailer for their show is based on a Stephen King thingamajig. J.J. Abrams is producing, and it's it's coming. And that's not obviously they've also worked together before. J.J. Abrams produced 11/22/63, which is the JFK time travel story.
HBO thing, right?
No, that was Hulu, that one.
Did see it.
Yes, which we all know that the assassination of JFK took place on the 11th of whatever the 22nd month is in 1963.
Don't know why this is so difficult for you.
No, I was literally just saying to Connor on yesterday's news that I like how China and Japan do it. They do year, month, day, which I think is a superior method. I think it's better than ours, but the Americans one is by far the worst. That makes no sense and is stupid because it goes month, day, year.
Today is the 13th of May, 2021. It's not so hard.
Well, it depends on the time zone. You're technically not on the 13th of May yet.
Oh, like another hour. Let's wrap this up.
Fine, we're talking about Lisey's story, and I'll be honest, I'm going to read the description here because I'm hoping that this will actually tell me what it's about, because I had no idea after I watched the trailer what this thing was actually about. So, other than Julianne Moore and Clive Owen, and there was like weird things after he dies, and there was maybe a secret world that he took her to, but maybe it was fake, or maybe it was in her head, or
someone's trying to kill her.
Someone's also trying. Dane DeHaan's trying to kill her, or something.
In order to get the dead husband's writings.
I was deeply confused by the trailer. I didn't understand what was going on. So, based on the novel by King, Lisey's story is a deeply personal thriller that follows Lisey Landon, played by Julianne Moore, 2 years after the death of her husband, famous novelist Scott Landon, played by Clive Owen. A series of unsettling events causes Lisey to face memories of her marriage that she has deliberately blocked out of her mind. Joan Allen, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Dane DeHaan, and Ron Cephas Jones also star. So
Scott Landon sounds like a very familiar name. I wonder if King has used it before.
Oh, you know what he's like. He probably has.
Yeah, I can't think of it, but I'm not that familiar with Stephen King stuff.
This
it does sound really familiar.
Yeah, this is a very in-depth trailer. It's like 3 minutes long, which is a bit longer than I expect, and it's got a lot of decent visuals in it. You know, there's a visual towards the end of Julianne Moore standing there in the fog with a shovel that's very, intentionally kind of going for like, this could be the poster, right? I don't know if it is, but it could be the poster. And
sure. Yeah, visually it looks pretty good.
But
whatever that imaginary dream world she goes into is pretty cool looking too. It's creepy. Like unsettling.
Yeah, I just didn't know what to make of the actual premise it was trying to tell me. Like, I got that he was dead and that she was remembering things, but it was so bizarre how, like, I wasn't sure if like are they just flashbacks we're going to get? Like, why does she think things are so weird? Like because that description made it very clear that these were memories she blocked out, and I didn't get that from the trailer. I was confused. Like, well, why do you think things are just weird now that he's dead? Because there's all these things that we're seeing in these flashbacks of you going to this place with him, and yeah, I don't know. I'll need to ask Tim about it because Tim's the big Stephen King guy, so he might have actually read the book.
Yeah, add that to the list of when you get to talk to Tim again.
Yes, when Tim's back from his baby sabbatical. Sababical.
No, it's too close to baby kill.
That's not what I was trying to say. But yes. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, Apple TV Plus is a rule. Like, it really has to impress me to make me even consider bothering, like, signing up for a month. So
yeah, I don't want to give Apple my money.
yeah,
I know we're gonna have to eventually, but I do. I mean, a friend of mine started Ted Lasso, and I was watching it with them, and it's pretty good actually, which kind of sucks because that could mean that other shows and movies are good.
I mean, I didn't hate the Shyamalan show that I watched the pilot of, and I actually saw a lot of potential in For All Mankind, which I've heard good things about now that it's like had season 2. But my experience using the service was so bad because at the time I had nothing that would use the app, so I had to use the web browser, and it did this thing where the video would stop playing after 15 minutes every time, so I had to keep restarting the player every 15 minutes,
especially for like a thriller or horror show.
Yeah, so, and the shows were like an hour long. Now the show with Jason Momoa, C, that was just absolute garbage. So I don't miss not seeing that one.
He was super hot at the time, so we got to get the Momoa show out first. Who cares about quality? People will buy our subscription service for this.
Yeah, so that was really weird. But hey, and then next up, just a quick update on an Amazon or a potential Amazon show. It was called The Banker's Wife, which has now been basically canned. It was based on a book. I remember talking about it when it was ordered, but it's been pulled because basically there were so many delays during the pandemic, and the budget constraints because of all the delays have basically made it not worthwhile pursuing. So even though it was ordered for an 8-episode season, it has now been rescinded. So
that's too bad. I hope all those people find work. Yeah.
So that's The Banker's Wife, no longer happening at Amazon. Someone else might decide to adapt it later, but at least for now, that's it in the bin. So last story of the day.
Exciting.
Look at the smile. Look at the smile on the face. She's a happy little kid at Christmas.
What's it gonna be? Something short.
Finally, I'm free. Tara's not held captive, okay? She has the complete free will to say no, I don't want to do the news.
Oh, okay. Well,
every time. Not in the middle of the show.
All right, let's go.
HBO Max has picked up to series a family comedy pilot called Gordita Chronicles, coming from Claudia Forestieri and Joss Berman's Osprey Productions. Zoe Saldana's Sinistar Pictures is also behind it as well. So
I'm listening.
I know, but I just thought it'd be funnier to let the yawn get the spotlight.
Zoe Saldana's company. Okay.
Yes. So newcomer Olivia Goncalves, I'm going to say, or maybe even basically different. I'm pronouncing the second half of that word like calves, like the word calves, but it might, because it's like obviously not an English word name, it might be like Goncalves. But why are you looking annoyed? This is what we do in the news. We talk about details like this.
You sure are stretching it out.
I'm not stretching anything out. And this is as natural as I... Have you ever listened to me doing the news with anyone else? This is exactly what happens.
I only listen to the ones I'm on.
All right, but vain. But
yeah.
So, Gordita Chronicles is inspired by Forestieri's life, centers on Carlotta Cuckoo Castelli, a willful 12-year-old Dominican immigrant with a heart of gold. Cuckoo leaves her home and her parochial school? I don't know what that word is. I've never heard of that word. And Santa Domingo and to live in Miami and pursue the American dream during the hedonistic 1980s after her father, a marketing executive with a large airline, gets transferred there. Cuckoo meets the head-on challenge of being an immigrant in the strange new world with humor, bravado, and some really bad choices. So, there you go. So it's a light-hearted take. Oh, I'm sure it'll have some serious messaging, but has some definitely some comedy along the way to tell its story. So, yeah.
Yep. Sounds fun. HBO Max, huh? That's cool.
The quickest possible thing you could say on this is that sounds fun.
I'm not going to watch it.
Okay.
I mean, HBO versus HBO Max, Max loses its prestige, I think.
Thus far, yeah, it's not earned the credibility to be put alongside actual HBO proper yet. The sad part is that one day I can see them being merged and there won't be a distinction, which could be a problem if everything just becomes muddied and we don't have that. And that's not to say that everything HBO has done is good, because they have made bad things. They definitely have.
That is true.
But
when they nail it.
Like Chernobyl.
Right.
Isn't that right? I just read a story today, actually, that scientists are mildly alarmed that there's increased radiation in Chernobyl right now. And it's nothing to properly worry about yet, but they described it as like the embers of a fire, and it probably won't lead to anything. But you know.
So not great, but not terrible.
Not great, not terrible. Maybe I sent in some robots just to do some analysis or something. have a check. What sort of like just dark irony would it be that nothing like we're not saying it like it's going to be a nuclear style explosion or anything, but just that Chernobyl actually is going to be even worse in terms of like a timeline than what it originally was predicted to be if things actually get worse first. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know the science well enough to know what exactly was predicted, but I don't think anyone expected it would get worse at some point.
That's true.
So, it'll take a long time to get better, but not worse. So, yes.
Maybe the wildlife is doing something to that radiation.
Maybe. What is the cost of lies? Was asked. Well, apparently we're still paying for them.
What is the cost of lies?
We're still paying for them. Apparently, decades and decades later. So here we are. But that's the news. That's us wrapped up. I wasn't trying to stretch things out with the Chernobyl story. I just thought you'd be interested. I thought
it's cool. I mean, it's not cool, but like, unless it's like a superhero or something that's emerging from there, or a supervillain.
Wait,
I mean, that's not cool. But like,
you think Radioactive Man's going to like come out of Chernobyl?
Oh no, not the nails! He's gonna lightly scratch us to death.
That's Nuclear Man, not Radioactive Man.
Oh, excuse me. You're right. Nuclear Man.
Nuclear Man.
I believe.
Because Gene Hackman always says it. Yeah, nuclear.
Nuclear Man.
He adds that extra syllable in there.
That's such a good movie.
But he gets away with it because he's Gene Hackman.
All right, good night, everyone.
There's an outro. Don't you start.
You don't have an outro.
Thank you very much for joining the show today, Tara. You've been a delight. I'm sure everyone will agree in the comments. You can, of course, like and subscribe. It helps us out a lot on the channel because YouTube recommends us out more often if we have more likes and more subscribers and more bells being ringed. If you hit that bell next to the subscribe button, you get notifications when stuff goes up, so please do that. And I do want everyone to know that this should have been like a less than 20-minute episode that somehow we expanded upon.
Are you done?
Patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. You can go there and support us financially for as little as $1 per month and get some bonuses for your trouble. Now I am done, so thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. And we will see you next time. And Tara will be back on the news before long.
Happy birthday.